Okay, so today is the day that the day to tell all. We were attempting to get to Coldfoot. Today's destination was actually Coldfoot. I'm going to get back to the map in just a second. Tell you what overall happened for today. Uh, so we're currently at a hotel back in Fairbanks. This morning started off at Fort Wainwright, and we kind of were assessing things last night, watching the weather patterns, determining, mentally preparing our decision making process as we were going to execute today. And one of the things discussed was if we were to wake up about 8 a.m. and it's pounding rain at our campsite, we weren't going to go anywhere. But waking up at 8 a.m. and if it was just light rain, we were going to make the push. And we had a little bit of rain last night, nothing of consequence, just enough to get our rain flies a little wet and the motorcycle covers a little wet. So we got up and we were out of Fort Wainwright, and we were fully geared up, by the way, for warmth and cold. We had all of our wet weather gear on, and it was barely drizzling. So 9 o'clock, 9:15, we pull out of Fort Wainwright, and we started hitting the trail. And I remember even saying to Greg, "Man, I feel like I'm a warm campfire marshmallow." I was just all nice and toasty, had all my top quality stuff on. So we get to the intersection of the 2 and the 11 where Hawaii, Alaska Highway 2 stops and the Dalton 11 begins. And so we pulled over, did our sticker thing. We got a video of that. I'll show you later. And and I looked over at Greg and I go, wow, the weather, this rain is just killing us because it hadn't rained. The cloud cover is really high. I got some good helmet cam shots, so I'll try to add that tonight. And we started climbing, and got some unimproved roads. Another thing that was just really taking a toll was the construction escorts with the pilot cars. I mean, I think we went through 3 of them, and it wasn't just keeping pace with the pilot car. We had to wait, and that's when the weather came in. And so we started getting rained on, and you're waiting in these long lines for these pilot cars to start moving, which is all for safety. That's great. But it just accumulated the amount of water that we started absorbing. So our first stop out of Fort Wainwright was scheduled to be the Dalton Highway sticker point, which we hit. And then right after that, we were going to gas up and eat it was north of Living Good at a place called Hotspot Cafe, and there was a gas station there. So as we started getting closer to it, our fuel starts to be a concern. And one of the many regulated construction stops, Greg asked, "Hey, how much further?" And they go, "Well, you got another 60 miles or something to get to the food place." And he goes, "Well, how much longer to the Arctic Circle?" She goes, "That's another 3 hours." And she said something to the effect, and Greg's in the bed next to me, relaxing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but she said, "If you go to the Arctic Circle on those motorcycles and you make it, don't go any further than that. Don't try to go to Coldfoot. There are holes in the road that will swallow up a motorcycle, and the visibility is getting bad." So that seemed kind of extreme, and I might be paraphrasing what she had said, but it was pretty much to the effect of things don't look good for motorcycles north of the Arctic Circle, and getting to the Arctic Circle itself was going to be a challenge. So okay, we're taking our time. Greg's in front of me, and there's a lot of these traffic regulation things we had to go through. So Greg's in front of me assessing everything, and gets to a certain point. And at this point, we're 40 miles north into the Dalton, 40 miles north of where we put our sticker up where it says Dalton Highway. And it just gets slick, slippery. My visibility was shot by then. And I had to back away from Greg or any vehicle because as we were going through the mud, I was just getting caked with mud on my bike, and my visor was continually getting obscured from mud and rain. And the visibility was really bad. And if I took my hands out of the hippo hands, those covers, and to wipe my windshield, it took a while to get back on, and there were these big, these aren't potholes, these are like surface of the moon crater holes that we had to dodge. And there was a couple of times where I had to rebalance the bike because I had one hand off it trying to get visibility. So then Greg started pulling over. We were being escorted at this point, and Greg says, "I'm calling it, we're not going any further." So that was 40 miles north. We turned around, and we just looked at all the muck and mud and garbage we went through to get to that point. We had to double back and do it. let alone had we gone further to the fuel point or gone further to the Arctic Circle sign or gone further to Coldfoot, we would have to repeat that process. Now at this time it's raining on us and we didn't have any accommodations. We didn't even know if we were going to put tents up. So there was a lot going on in our minds. So the decision was made. We turned around. Conditions didn't get any better. They got worse, as a matter of fact. On the helmet cam, you'll see it looks like frost. There's actually hail and sleet on the roadway at a certain point when we're at the highest point, and I captured some of that on the helmet cam. So at this point, we're soaked like two, ship rats. I mean, we're just everything. No matter what we wore, no matter the bike, the equipment, our gear, everything, we just start getting soaked. So then we come back down to the sticker point where you start the Dalton, and there was I'll show you on the map. As a matter of fact, I'll show you right now. So what we did, I just went to go get my little laser pointer, and that was broken. So we started here in Fairbanks. That's where we started. Our goal tonight was Coldfoot, which is here in this area. So here's how our stops were planned. Leaving Fairbanks, going here to where the 2 stops and the 11 Dalton begins. That was the first stop, which was, the weather was pretty decent, and we put our sticker up there. The next one was here to Hotspot Cafe to get food and gas. So over here, we saw that there was a turnoff to this place called Manly Hot Springs, and there's a sign that says gas food here, but we kept going up the Dalton. Now we got 40 miles north. We couldn't even get to this place. By the time we turned around, was probably in here somewhere. We had about 30 more miles to get to this spot, but that's where we turned around, right around here. So this was scheduled stop 1, put a sticker up. Scheduled stop 2, gas food. Scheduled stop 3 was here, the Arctic Circle sign. And then scheduled stop 4 was going to be Coldfoot, and that's where we were going to end the day. That wasn't certain. What was really certain was the Arctic Circle sign. And at that point, we were going to assess if we were going to go forward to Coldfoot or just call it a success story and turn around at the Arctic Circle. Now, when I use the term, and I can actually flip this. By the way, these are Butler maps, and we actually had to break it out because the GPSs weren't helping us for a moment, and it was raining when I broke it out. The nice thing about Butler maps, it has like that waxy plastic feel to it, and although it got rained on, it's fine now. And Butler maps are tailored towards motorcyclists. So this is a little blown up area that I was talking about. So right here is where we put our sticker up. We traveled up, never got to the Hotspot Cafe. We turned around right about here, came back down here, and we thought that this hot springs where they have gas, food, and lodging was closer. So we started trekking down here for about 10, 15 miles. We pulled over. The GPSs weren't really doing justice. Mine kept messing up because the rain droplets were changing everything. The rain hit the screen and it was just messing things up. So we broke off the map. We made a U-turn here, came through here, and I'm telling you, we're getting so right around this area where you get to a pretty high elevation is where you'll see the helmet cam where there's frost and sleet on the ground, and the only tracks being made are the tracks from Greg's motorcycle in front of me. Then we had to come back down. Oh wait, that's the 6. We had to come back down the 2, and we started running out of gas for sure. Coming back down the 2, Greg has a little bit of a shorter distance than I do, and we both have Rotopacks, extra gas, so that was good. So we came right about here. Let me see if I can. I don't know if the Hilltop. It might be here. There's a place called the Hilltop Truck Stop. But right before then, we got stuck in another regulated traffic thing, and while we were stopped, we jumped off the bikes, took off my Rotopack, and threw some gas in Greg's motorcycle, so we were able to keep trekking, keep coming forward. We finally get to this place, and if you look at my shirt, I don't know if you can see it. If you look at my shirt, it says Hilltop Truck Stop. Hilltop Truck Stop, Alaska. So here's the deal. I'm not out to get any kind of... oh, that's weird. I can see the reflection in the Yeah. So I wasn't out to look for souvenirs, but the shirt I was wearing underneath a rain jacket, my climb jacket, and my climb middle layer, it was soaked all in the chest. I felt like I was I felt like I was getting hypothermia. So I ended up buying this shirt for $25 just to get warm when we got there. Now the other funny thing is when we got to this hilltop truck stop place, he and I we hadn't eaten all day, and it's almost 5:30. So it was getting up to 5 o'clock, and I think you had to order food by 4:30 or 5, and we didn't realize that. So we hadn't eaten all day. I mean, nothing. We got up and left. I had no coffee, no little snack. We didn't stop along the way. I didn't realize how many hours I went by. And so it was like, they go, well, if you want to eat, you got to order like in the next 15 minutes. So we ordered food. I got to tell you, the food was good. Or either that or we were just starving to death. I got a Swiss mushroom burger and a big bowl of chili, and I was wolfing it down. And Greg got a breakfast platter, and he said it was good. But yeah, we were just starving. We got some hot coffee in us. I did not realize how many hours had passed that we were on the road. When she said we closed at 5, I'm thinking, is it even close to 5? And it was. So
we got beat.
Greg said we got beat. So we looked at it and we talked and we said, if you want to measure success, goal oriented, which I think is great, you got your goals, you achieve your goals. That's a success story. So for us, we really thought that our story would have been at least the Arctic Circle, and understandably so because of the weather and the terrain. That was the safest, smartest destination. But now that it wasn't, I believe success, goal oriented success is great, but also logic and reason success has something to be said about it. And the fact that we are in a little bit more than money that we wanted to spend, but we are dry, we are safe, we're in Fairbanks. On the positive side, we gained a day or two that we can actually plan some other things to do. We are not, by the way, viewers, we're not going back out there. It's not like we're going to wait for the storm to break. It's not like tomorrow's another day. Oh, we're going to give it another shot. Today was it. Today was the Hail Mary, do or die day, and we both agreed, look, we got some experience underneath our belts.
Die was the other option.
Greg said the other option was to continue on and die. I mean, had we gone forward, say it was successful, and say we would still be working our way to Coldfoot in the rain and miserable, dry, wet, cold weather, no food. We had no food on us. And there's no guarantee in Coldfoot that we were going to get anything to eat or any place to stay. So the idea, and it's very remote, by the way. Once you leave Fairbanks, all bets are off with cell phone coverage. I did have my my InReach Garmin thing going, so people that know us and have the code to get on the website, they could track us. So
we had some food and sleeping. If it would have got bad, we had water. We could have posted up.
Yeah, Greg makes a point that I said we had no. Yes, we had our tents and our sleeping bags, and even though when I was in the Army I was a scout, and when I was in Air Force I was a flight medic, and I had to go to survival school. You learn very quickly how to live with very minimal for a very long time, and looking at what we had on the bike, yes, we had food, water. We had some dehydrated stuff. Greg has a stove. We could have heated some stuff up. Nobody was dying. No one was going to send up the SOS signal for somebody to come rescue us. It just would have been
miserable.
Very miserable. Greg said miserable. I think miserable is an understatement. There were things I've done in the military that seemed like more of a controlled environment than what we were doing today. And it would have been miserable. No, we wouldn't have set up the SOS, but we would have had some means of shelter and subsistence as far as the food that we were carrying. But it was much better to eat at the hilltop truck stop. It was good food, and it was better to be in a hotel and grab a shower.
Like 3 hours to get there, and then like 6 hours to get out.
Okay, so our travel, he's talking about the time frame, so I don't even know what time it is now.
7:39.
It's 7:30, 7:40 Alaska time. So I remember I gave him the time frame, and we left at 9:15. And I think when we left at 9:15, the first time hack I said was when we were putting the sticker up. And it was, at that point, I think it was 4 or 5 hours of traveling. So it was 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. It was 5 hours. It took us 5 hours to get to where we put the sticker up. I'm pretty sure it took us 5 hours to get that far.
I don't think so, but
maybe 5 hours on the return part.
yeah.
There was one time where I said it's 2:15. We've been on the road for 5 hours. Yeah, I think that was on the return. But overall travel time today to get to where we were and back to get to this hotel, we probably checked in here at 6. 9, 10, 11, 12, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I think it was a 9-hour travel day, Greg.
Yeah, for 220 miles.
I didn't even know how many miles we covered. I have no idea.
Well, to here, probably closer to 245.
So let's say 245 miles today. 245 miles. We left at 9:15 to the campsite, and we stopped minimal. Our stops were basically for construction that we had to stop and to look at a map. We had minimal stops and a couple of photo ops at the sign. That was it. I mean, we've had longer stops elsewhere, but yeah, 9 hours of being on the road and only one meal. Was probably the most, I don't know if treacherous is the right word to use, but you know something? I'm giving you guys the facts on this video. He and I are not complaining. He and I don't have any regrets, whether it be what we did today, the time spent, energy spent, money spent. No regrets. It was a learning and process. We're happy that what we did. But I think any of the day, what I'm overall happy with is that we didn't push our limits and capabilities. We didn't push, exhaust ourselves to the point of this being a very much different video. Nobody was going to, the worst case scenario. Nobody was going to die today, but there could have been injury. We could have fallen. It could have been exhaustive. It would have been hard as heck. It's one thing picking up a motorcycle in a parking lot on asphalt when it's dry. There's nothing when you're on an incline on slick mud. It just wasn't good to go forward. I commend anybody. I don't care who you are, what bike you're on, or what time of year it is. Anybody who gets to Purdue Bay, Dead Horse, awesome dude, man. You got my admiration. Good on you. It just wasn't going to be us, not on this trip. But no regrets. We're going forward, and I'm sure there'll be new adventures to come. Just wanted to follow up. I know there was a lot of people, friends and family, that were contacting me last night that were off following the weather, and I haven't really contacted them. I kind of depend on the YouTube videos to disseminate that information out to them so they know we're safe and sound. But we're safe and sound. I have nothing to tell you guys what tomorrow holds. After I get done wrapping up this video, jumping in the shower, we'll look at the map, look at a book, look at and figure it out. But that's part of the fun of it. Now, no matter what happens, everything's going to be new to us and new to you guys as the viewers. So thanks for hanging in there. Sorry to disappoint anybody who expected us to be shooting videos, at least of Coldfoot or Dead Horse. But I think it's more important that we're safe, sound, and that we have smiles on our faces instead of still being out there in the rain, muck, and mud, trying to figure out where we're going to stay or what we're going to eat. All right, everybody, like, subscribe, get out there and ride, whatever your passion may be. Like I said, if it's something you wanted to do and you didn't do it yesterday, you know what I'm going to say. But you know something? Greg and I didn't hesitate. We woke up this morning and I thought I was back in the Army or the Air Force. All I hear is a voice saying, "Those motorcycles ain't going to ride themselves." I was like, up and at 'em, man. I guess that's the green light. We are moving forward. We gave it a shot, everybody. We gave it we didn't leave anything out on the field. We gave it the good college try, and we're leaving with no regrets. Have a good evening.
That was nicely said, Dan.